everyone, Reaper here again with another comic book haul. I've been meaning to do this haul for a little while, so that's why I have so many books here. I was actually meaning to do this back in August, but I got delayed, I didn't do it. Then the Baltimore Comic-Con came out, so I decided to do that haul instead. So finally here in the middle of October, going towards the end of October, I have another haul video. And I'm going to have some other videos come out too. So, let's get started. The books that I have right now in my hand, I'm going to separate this haul into sections, into 3 sections. All right, we have books that I submitted to CGC. Those are the books that I'll go over right now. Got some raw books. That will be the second section of this video, and the final section would be other CGC books that I got. So let's get started. Now, again, these books here that I'm about to show are books that were in my collection for a period of time, raw. And then I submitted them to CGC this year. And these are the grades that I got back. So this one here, we have War Against Crime number 11. This is actually the first EC horror cover, not the first horror story. I previously thought it was the first horror story, but I believe that's a Moon Girl book. But anyway, I got a 4.5 on this. This is the second appearance of the Vault Keeper, and like I said, the first horror cover. It's one of my favorite EC covers. I just love mummy covers, and I just love the colors and everything here. It's really good. When I submitted this, I thought I was going to get a little higher on it. I thought I was going to get maybe at least a 5.5. But as it turns out, I got a 4.5. And I could see why I got a 4.5, because there's some creases on the back and a little bit of, as you can see, the creases on the back, and a little bit of this, a little bit of, right here, a little bit of everything when it comes to defects there. But it's still a pretty solid 4.5. My point is, I had forgotten about those defects, because I had it in the Mylar, and you only see the front cover, so I guess I forgot about what was on the back, so it came back a 4.5. So I was a little bummed getting a 4.5. But the next one, I got a little bit better. So there's a little bit of give and take with some of these things. This is one of my favorite EC books. We have the Crypt of Terror number 18, the second issue of the Crypt of Terror. I thought I was going to get a 5.0. I wound up getting a 5.5. I'll take it. Thank you very much. This is the second copy of this book. Previously, this book was owned by Gary Arlington, but it's not mentioned in the notes here, so that's fine. But this was a Gary Arlington copy of Crypt of Terror. So here we are, a nice 5.5. Very good. I might have shown it. I don't know. Well, if I shown it, sometimes I forget. I hold on to these books for a long period of time without doing hauls, and sometimes I write it down, sometimes I don't. So if you see it again, what's the big deal? But we have the very first issue of Crypt of Terror, number 17. I got a 3.0 on this, so I was pretty happy with that. Eventually, books that are under 5.0 are definitely all going to be upgraded. It just depends on how high on the upgrade list they are. So we'll see what happens with this one. But for now, it's a very nice looking 3.0. Yeah, I think I did show this off to you. Yeah, I mentioned that it has some staining on the back, which is the reason why I got a 3.0. Well, one of the reasons why. But still, not so bad. So you get to see it again. This is one that I owned raw for only a few months, and then I saw... No, not even that long. I think I bought it. I bought it raw, and then probably within a month, maybe even a month and a half, maybe not even that long, when I was coming up with another batch of books to send to CGC, I sent this one out, and I was pretty pleased with the grade. Weird Science Fantasy, number 29. I got a 7.5 on this. This is the classic Frank Frazetta cover. And the last one for this section, the last book that I sent to CGC that came back, is actually a book that I've showed many times on this channel years and years ago. And I've often toyed with getting the restoration removed. Well, I sent it to CGC and I had the restoration removed. And here it is. My Detective Comics number 148 went down to a 1.8 blue label. It previously was a 3.5 restored. So it went down quite a bit. All right. I thought I was going to get maybe a 2 after the restoration was restored, so the 1/8 was like a little bit too bad, but it still presents very well on the front and the back for a 1/8. Eventually, when I get to some of the Batman books, I'm planning to get to the Batman books within the next 2 years. This will be sold and see if I could upgrade to a 3.0, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to get that restoration off for a long time, ever since I bought the book, but it wasn't, necessarily a priority. I was just happy to own the book. I was finally happy to bring the first appearance of the Riddler in my collection. I believe this book, I don't remember the actual, was it Comic Book Haul number 13 or something like that? I don't remember. It was Ultra Batman Haul number 2, which was Comic Book Haul number 13 or 14 or something like that. So it was a while ago. It was about 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago, almost 9 years ago, when I aired that video. But here it is. So it's been in my collection for a while now. It's amazing how quickly the time has gone by. All right, now time for section 2 of this video, some raw books. Yes, I still buy raw books every now and then. Although I've said it many times on this channel, I'm kind of moving toward just having majority of my books slabbed. But we'll see. Yeah, because it makes it so much easier to upgrade. It really does. You may not think so, but I think so. I've had better experience selling books that are slabbed than some raw books. All right, so we have a few X-Men here. You can see X-Men again in this video. But here's one that I upgraded for like the umpteenth time. X-Men number 11. I believe I have a nice 7.5 copy. Pretty good. Here's another X-Men. This is another 7.5 copy. X-Men number 33. Cool Juggernaut cover. Right. And here's, I believe this is the last raw X-Men book. We have a really nice high grade copy. This is probably like an 8.5. X-Men 44. Really cool. Yeah, the colors really pop on this one. The colors pop on all those books. When it comes to raw books, I have all the Silver Age X-Men books, and I'm slowly upgrading them again. I previously upgraded them a couple of years ago. Now I'm trying to get 7s and 7.5s and 6.5s on certain ones, replacing some of the 5s and the 5.5s I've had. And I've done a pretty good job of doing that with the majority of those books. Now, some of the earlier titles, the single-digit ones, I've done that too. But I got to continue to work on it. So that's, it's really a lot of fun actually doing that. Here is a pretty cool. Then this is not a Precode book, but it's around the time when the code came out. But I thought that this was a really cool cover, and I had my eye on it for a while. But here we have Journey into Unknown Worlds number 54. I like this cover. Anything when it comes to Egyptology and mummies and things of that nature, I really like when it comes to comic book covers. Like I was saying with War Against Crime number 11. Here we have this. Pretty cool. This is a really nice, this is another upgrade actually. This is a really stunning copy. It was sold to me as a 7.0, but I don't think it's a 7.0. I think it's maybe a 6.5 all day. But it's front and back. It's a really very nice cover. And it's another Atlas Precode. Adventures into Terror number 30. Yeah, this book right here, obviously in higher grade like this, it's not that easy to find. And I'll show it to you again. It's a pretty cool cover. I mean, there's some subtlety to it. It's not overt as much, but I think it's really cool. Just seeing how everybody's coming out of their graves, but then you see in the background more people, more zombies, I guess, coming out of the ground or waiting or approaching. It's got its subtleties when it comes to the art, and especially the ones that are on the hill. So it's really, really cool, and I think a little underrated. Now this is a low-grade copy right here, and this is what I like to call a placeholder. I know a lot of people say low grade is better than no grade. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I thought that the price was good for this, and this is definitely something that eventually I could get rid of, but it is a pretty low grade book. I would say this is probably like a 1.8, But here we have War Against Crime number 1. Very cool. It's not every day you see this book. And it's a #1 in a pretty cool series that eventually became Vault of Horror. So it's nice to have #1. But it is a placeholder. Now, speaking of the Vault of Horror, we got another Vault of Horror upgrade. And this is a... I'm going to send... Now, this is going to be a book that I send sometime soon, maybe within the next few months. Maybe sooner, to CGC. So I'll say right here what I think the grade is, and then when I do the video, when it comes back, and we'll see if it actually aligns with what I thought it was. But here's a nice upgrade to my Vault of Horror number 39. I believe this is a 6.0 copy. How many copies of this have I had? I think this is my 3rd copy. I think. I don't know. I think I had a 4.0, and then I think I got a 5.0, and now I got a 6.0. I believe this is my 3rd copy, but this is a stunning copy. It really is. It's beautiful inside and out. So, yeah, this is probably going to be something that goes to CGC in the next batch. Okay? A few more ECs. Some recent upgrades. We have a Haunt of Fear #8 upgrade. Got from my friend Mike. I had a solid 5.0 copy. I think this is a solid 6.0. Okay? So, yeah, it's definitely, it's a move out of the 5.0 range, right? And into the 6.0 range, which is where a lot of my EC horror books are going. I still have quite a few 4.5s, maybe 5.0s, 4.0s, and you can see with the Cryptid Terror 17, you got a 3.0, and the War Against Crime, it's a lower grade, but there's really only a handful of those lower grade books, lower grade being below 4.0 in my collection. Most of my EC collection has moved into the mid-grade range, and now, just like with Xmen, as it moved into the mid-grade range, now it's moving into high mid-grade range, like 6.0s, 7.5s, 7.0s, things of that nature. So Xmen and EC has been moving in that direction for a very long time. And eventually I'm going to start, like I said, I'm going to work on Batman, but I think I'll start working on Spider-Man first. We're going to move from that 4.0, 5.0 range into the 6.0 range with a lot of the books. And some of the 6.5s moving into 7.5s. So, yeah, it's again another reason why I enjoy collecting. It keeps it fresh for me. And as you can see by this video, we're halfway through it. I don't really bring too many brand new spanking books in my collection. And what I mean by that is books I've never owned. I don't mean like new books that are on the stands. I don't bring those at all in my collection. If I do, it's very rare. Yeah, I just am not that collector. I'm not saying that you shouldn't collect those, but it's not something that I'm interested in at all. Although on occasion, when I do sell one of my undercopies, I'll get a couple people asking me if I do trades, and I highly doubt there's anything you have that I want. Not to sound obnoxious, but it's just you don't, because when they start saying, "Oh, I got a Venom #3, 3rd print or whatever," keep it. Keep it. Anyway, 2 more Raw books, and they're both upgrades. Here's one, again, from my friend Mike, that I was very happy to get. I previously had a 4.0 copy, and I sold it. And now I have a 6.5 copy of The Haunt of Fear #18. This is a crazy cover. It takes a while for me, very much like that Frazetta Weird Science Fantasy 29. It takes a while for me to figure out what the heck is going on here. I know the old witch is on the cover. It looks like Frankenstein's here. Somebody's coming out of his eyes. All this crazy stuff. This is a favorite among a lot of EC collectors, and Graham Ingalls, who drew all the covers, except for some of the first ones, of course, of A Haunt of Fear. Feldstein mainly did a lot of those, and Johnny Craig did some of the earlier ones. But that's a favorite among EC collectors. And it's a rising one. you know, for those that are in EC and like, oh, what covers? We all know the Haunt of Fear number 17, you know, the zombie cover. That's a big one. That's blown up. The Vault of Horror 35, the Christmas cover. That's the one that's been always popular, but it's really blown up. This one, I don't want to say it's blown up, but it's rising pretty quickly. It really is. Very much like that Weird Science Fantasy 29. That one, especially in higher grades, you just don't see them in 7.5s, or at least see them as much. And the very last Raw book, another upgrade from me, is Haunt of Fear, number 20. It's a 6.0. And this eventually is going to get graded. I had a graded 5.5 and I hated it. You know, normally 5.5s, I don't mind 5.5s in my collection. And they're not usually high on the upgrade list. They might be, I'll eventually get to them, maybe. If I see a good deal on a 6.5 or something like that, or even a 6.0 if it's a good deal. But I just hated the cover. I mean, the reason why I hated the cover is not because of the artwork, is because it was so miscut. It was so miscut, where it really, in my view, I mean, we have some miscut books here, right? But it was like miscut on a slant. It was just one of those where it just like really took away from the cover. And I was like, oh, let me just get rid of this. I'll be willing to take a 5.5 again. Just get a different 5.5. Well, I found a 6.0 Raw. I think it's a 6.0. When I eventually get it graded, we'll see if I'm right. I think I'm right. But I have been wrong before. Like with the War Against Crime 11. All right, the last part of this video is just more slabs I got. Of course, a lot of them, if not all of them, I don't remember what I put down here. All upgrades from previously lower grade and raw books that I've had in my collection for a number of years. So let me grab that. And we are going to start off with another X-Men book. I've been upgrading some of the later X-Men books. I think in previous hauls I showed you, if those of you that follow me on Instagram, I've upgraded my X-Men 49 and 50 to 7.5s. Well, here's another 7.5. First appearance of the Banshee. I thought this was I bought this, I thought it was a really good deal. And my raw 6.0 sold pretty quickly. Here's another upgrade. I had a 5.0. The seller said it was a 5.0. The spine did not look like a 5.0 to me. It looked more like a 4.5. But I was able to upgrade it to a Witch's Tales number 25 to a nice 6.5. Yeah, much better. Spines, you know, it's got a lot of the darker colors are still present here without creases. Really nice. Here's another upgrade. Now, I've upgraded this book several times, and I might upgrade it again. But here we have Shock Suspense Stories number 1. I've had about 4 copies of this over the years. I wouldn't mind getting a 7.5 of this. I think it's doable. You know, Shock Suspense Stories, you know, you got a couple of the really, really classic covers in it, like number 6, and the Electrocution cover, whatever number that is, 8 or something like that, and a few others. This one always seems, even though it's a number 1, it's not always popular as the others. So it's pretty doable when it comes to upgrading to a nice mid-grade or high mid-grade copy. My original copy, this is my 3rd copy of this book, believe it or not. Or at least I can't believe it. My first copy of this I purchased over about 10 years ago. Yeah, it appeared in one of the early comic book hauls, single-digit comic book hauls. I think it was, comic book haul number 4 or something like that. Well, anyway, I managed to upgrade it again. Now, my original copy was a 9.0, and then I sold it off to help contribute to my Hulk number 1. And then I got it back a couple months later at the Heroes Con. Got like a 7.5 copy, so it was a nice copy, but it certainly was no 9.0. Well, here I have an 8.5, still not a 9.0, but a really nice looking copy of Detective Comics number 400. Yeah, there seems to be such a gap in price between an 8.5 and a 9.0. I mean, I don't know if it's changed at present. I mean, when I bought this, there's been a gap between the 2 grades. Pretty sizable gap. Now, maybe not so much, so who knows? I might upgrade to a 9.2 and get a better copy than what I originally had. But my 9.0 was really nice. This is nice too, though. Very nice. So I was glad to be able to get an 8.5. Yeah, a lot of those books that I bought 10 years ago, And 2024 seems like obviously it's the 10-year anniversary of when I started to do videos and start buying all these books. But a lot of those books that I bought 10 years ago, like the one I just mentioned, and others were upgraded this year, like the House of Secrets 92, I had a 6.5, now I got a 7.5. Batman Adventures 12, I had an 8.5, now I have a 9.2. My Incredible Hulk 181, well that doesn't count because I upgraded that 2 years ago. That's been upgraded quite a few times. But I guess a little side point is all those books a lot of those big books I bought in 2014. Not only a lot of them were upgraded this year, 10 years later, a lot of them were upgraded over the last couple of years, which includes the Giant Size X-Men #1, the Incredible Hulk 181, and even my X-Men #1. So some pretty big books that I bought back then have been upgraded tremendously. We have 3 books, and they're all upgrades, believe it or not. Tales from the Crypt number 23, excuse me. Ooh, how could I make that error? Because this is like my second favorite Tales from the Crypt book, behind that Cryptid Terror 18. I felt that they had the best stories in it. You know, there's 5 stories in each of these, and if you sometimes you like 2 of them really well, and the others are like bleh. 4 or 5 stories, whatever it is. Well, my point is, with the Cryptid Terror 18 and Tales from the Crypt 23, I liked all the stories in it. It's very rare for me to open up one of these and really get into all the stories. I purchased, this was a book that I really wanted about 6-7 years ago. And it took me a while to find it. And I found it, and I had it pressed, and I had it graded last year, and it came back a 4.0. I don't know if I showed that in a video. It came back a 4.0, and I sold it a couple months ago. And I funded this bad boy. Nice 6.0. Here's another book that I bought. I actually bought this in my original copy. This is my second copy of this, and it's a nice upgrade. I bought like maybe a 3.0 copy at the New York Comic Con. I know the New York Comic Con's going on right now. I just don't go to it anymore. Who knows if I'll go back to it. But anyway, I purchased my original copy of this at the New York Comic Con back in 2015, Tales of Suspense 52, first appearance of the Black Widow. And I sold that copy this year, and I was finally able to upgrade it to a nice, clean 6.0. Really nice. And the last book, and it's an X-Men book. I had a 5.5 copy of this. I had it graded recently. I had it in my collection for a long time. Sold it to help fund this upgrade. So I had an X-Men 12 5.5, and I upgraded to a nice 7.5 here. Right? So it's all about upgrades. It really is. With pockets, small pockets of new books entering my collection for the first time. You know. So that's my latest comic book haul. Let's see if I could do a couple more videos soon. Just around this time I get so busy. But I thank you. I thank all of you for watching these videos, for sticking through the whole video, leaving comments on the videos and all that stuff. I really, really appreciate it, and I like reading the comments and hearing from you. All right. So I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.